Hey, it's Brian May.
Roger Taylor.
And I'm Adam Lambert.
Tonight is our iHeartRadio Icons show.
We'll all be talking about the Rhapsody Tour with iHeartRadio.
Listen at 7 p.m. on the Classic Rock channel through the free iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio Icons with Queen and Adam Lambert as we celebrate the announcement of Queen plus Adam Lambert, the Rhapsody Tour 2023. Now, here's your host, Jim Kerr.
And joining me in our New York studio, Sir Brian May and Roger Taylor, Queen, and their singer, Adam Lambert. Welcome to iHeartRadio Icon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, the Rhapsody returned.
Indeed.
It's been 4 years since Queen plus Adam Lambert toured North America, and you are coming back. Now, before we talk about the show, take us behind the scenes and the discussions you may have among yourselves about touring, like when is it the right time, who calls whom,
Ooh, it's a complex thing. I mean, some of it is the demand. It's like people want us, we respond to that. And we're very aware that America is still very encouraging to us, I could put it that way, So you want to go where people want you. And
yeah, but people want you all over the world.
Yeah, but America is kind of where we grew up. And it just felt right. Luckily, with these guys, it is fun. It's creative and it's demanding in the right kind of way, challenging. And we have a laugh. We have fun. And the audiences give us incredible response. And we just love it. So we're doing it.
Captured at the Montreal Forum in November 1981 and released on 2007's Queen Rocks Montreal. That's Bohemian Rhapsody on iHeartRadio Icons.
The Classic
Brian,
Rock channel.
A lot of time together. I see photos of the two of you just hanging out, having a good time.
Occasionally, yeah.
Very often on social media. So, do you sit in a pub somewhere and say, maybe it's time?
Well, we used to sit in pubs an awful lot. But
actually, more now, because I now moved. I moved out of London for the first time, and I moved very close to Rog, so I'm his neighbour now.
Yeah, so
we can just nip over and have a drink.
In the country, yeah, which is good. But I mean, obviously, we have to agree that we want to go out. Mm-hmm. We don't need to, but we've found this wonderful recipe, this magical chemistry with Adam. And, I don't want to retire personally. What a horrible thought. I just like to do what I love doing, and that's this. And thank goodness these other two guys want to do it as well.
Captured at the Montreal Forum in November 1981 and released on 2007's Queen Rocks Montreal. That's Bohemian Rhapsody on iHeartRadio Icons.
The Classic Rock channel.
A lot of time together. I see photos of the two of you just hanging out, having a good time.
Occasionally, yeah.
Very often on social media. So, do you sit in a pub somewhere and say, maybe it's time?
Well, we used to sit in pubs an awful lot. But
actually, more now, because I now moved. I moved out of London for the first time, and I moved very close to Rog, so I'm his neighbour now.
Yeah, so
we can just nip over and have a drink.
In the country, yeah, which is good. But I mean, obviously, we have to agree that we want to go out. Mm-hmm. We don't need to, but we've found this wonderful recipe, this magical chemistry with Adam. And, I don't want to retire personally. What a horrible thought. I just like to do what I love doing, and that's this. And thank goodness these other two guys want to do it as well.
June 5th, 1982 at the Milton Keynes Bowl in Buckinghamshire, England. That's Under Pressure on iHeartRadio Icons, Queen plus Adam Lambert. Now, the tour is still called the Rhapsody Tour, but it's not the same production as 4 years ago. Brian, as a matter of fact, you're quoted as saying, while the last tour was the most ambitious production ever, you decided to rip it apart and get even more ambitious. How can you do that? Can you elaborate on that, please?
Well, the funny thing is, it happens almost naturally because we just love trying stuff out and seeing how far we can push it. So we're innovating the whole time. We are ripping things to pieces the whole time, saying, can we do this better? Can we do this a different way? Can we try a different song? Can we move things around? Can we get a different effect when this particular lyric comes? All this stuff contributes. So the tour has evolved a lot since we last saw you. And I actually questioned whether we should still call it the Rhapsody Tour, but it's a nice kind of title. And like you said, the Rhapsody returns, but significantly changed and revved up.
Well, Rick Lipson, that's your set designer?
Yeah.
Says the show will excite audiences with, this is his quote, its holistic blend of lighting, video, scenery, and pyrotechnics to bring a visual spectacle to Queen's iconic music. So how does that part of the puzzle start to come together?
We ask them to do certain things, like, can you make this happen? And they go, okay, well, maybe we can do this. And then they say, well, actually, we can't make that happen, but we could do this. How would that work for you? So it's very interactive, and we just proceed.
I think the germs of the ideas come from us.
Yeah.
And then they make them happen.
It happens so organically. We'll be tossing an idea ball back and forth between us, and it'll turn into something based on all three of our input that is very exciting.
Yeah, and the technology, of course, changes the whole time, and we love that. We like finding out the things that we couldn't do 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we can do now. Toys are great.
Yeah.
The music's cool, but the toys are great.
And Adam, this show is part of a series called iHeartRadio Icons. Mm-hmm. You are, I believe, the youngest performer ever to be featured on this program, iHeartRadio Icon.
I'm flattered. Thank you very much. I'm flattered.
And it's justified because you stepped in at your very young age to an incredibly iconic role.
When it all began, I didn't expect it to continue this long and this successfully. I thought, oh, this is just a one-off. We'll have a great time. We'll do this gig together at the EMAs in Belfast for MTV, and that'll be that, and it's a lovely night. And we just clicked. It was such a nice connection, and we had a lot of fun on stage, and one thing after another sort of came up as opportunities, and I was thrilled to keep being able to say yes.
Yeah, we didn't actually even ourselves think it was going to last this well or work this well and last as long. And actually, strangely enough, the real breakthrough came with, I think, an appearance we did in Vegas for iHeart. And,
it's true, 2014.
That was the first little mini set.
Yeah, that was the iHeartRadio Music Festival.
That's right.
So full circle right here.
And I think that really got people excited to put like a proper tour together.
And it felt to us like, oh, this really does work.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, this is for anybody that's crazy out there.
Plus Adam Lambert. Once again, your host, Jim Kerr.
Of course, at the heart of every Queen show, at the heart of Queen, is Freddie Mercury. Despite the fact that he's been gone for what will be, at the time of the tour, 32 years. Brian, Roger, it's tough enough for any band to continue without a key member, especially without the lead singer. But you guys have done it twice, and you've overcome the odds. You very successfully did it first with Paul Rodgers and now with Adam. What is it about the magic of Queen that you think allowed it to transcend what could have been fatal for the band?
It's funny. I think part of the answer is that it was organic in both cases. We didn't look for it. I think Roger and I were quite prepared to quit Queen when we lost Freddie. I just happened to bump into Paul Rodgers and we did a thing together and we went, ooh, wouldn't it be interesting to go out? And yeah, so we went out and had a great time. And we got sort of oriented back towards the blues a bit. But it had its life and that was it. Paul needed to go off and do his thing. Suddenly, out of nowhere, even though Roger and myself are both at that point going, okay, we've done it now. We did it in the old days. We did it with Paul, now we're done. And then along comes Adam Lambert, who can do extraordinary things with his voice. Plus, he has the showman elements, he has the presence, he has the contact with an audience.
It was entirely obvious he had an extraordinary voice. And,
you don't find one of these anyplace. I mean, there's one in a billion voice. Oh, I'm blushing.
Well, firstly, I try to imagine what it must be like, to step into the spotlight as the lead singer of Queen. That takes a lot of confidence.
or the ability to make it look like you're confident. I definitely had my fair share of nerves and doubts, and I put on a good poker face. So I think, like the first full-length gig we did, which was in Ukraine, I think. It was the first proper 2-hour set. I was terrified. And we'd only rehearsed together for, I think, maybe a week.
Outdoors to 500,000
to
people.
500,000 people. So yes, I was terrified, but I will say that at that point in my life, I had a lot of theater experience and training, and I had done Idol, and I think I was like, okay, well, this is your moment to just, do what you do. And I did my best.
I find it incredible, though, that it's so long since Freddie went. Actually longer than we were together with him, which is hard to comprehend, actually. I think we can't quite believe we are still going at the level that we're going.
Yeah. The key element is that Freddie is still with us. The spirit of Freddie is very much alive in us. And you see certain little bits of Freddie, actually in the show. You hear him and you see him just a little bit, but also his spirit is in the whole thing. And Adam very much carries that with him, which is very generous of him. He never kind of forgets the fact that he's channeling something. And Adam's never been an imitator in any sense, but he channels all the stuff that we built up together, and particularly Freddie, of course.
It's nice to try to carry on the spirit with which Freddie performed the songs. Not necessarily imitating the technique or exactly what he did with his voice, but the intention has always been my goal. What is the audience meant to feel in this moment? Why was this lyric written? What was the backstory here? What are you trying to communicate? And that's what I think, doing that studying and kind of having great conversations with Brian and Roger have allowed me to figure out, what that intention is.
We'll rock you, and we are the champions. Here on iHeartRadio Icons, I'm Jim Kerr. The Rhapsody Tour starts October 4th in Baltimore. 9 cities. Tickets go on sale tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock at livenation.com. Baltimore, Toronto, Detroit, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Nashville, Music City, St. Paul, Minnesota, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Now remember, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., livenation.com. Brian, Roger, Adam, thank you so much for joining us on iHeartRadio Icons.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Great pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Always.